Let's return to This Week in America. Here's your host, Rick Bratton.
Welcome back, everybody, coast to coast. This Week in America. M.A. Benjamin is one of 8 siblings, a native New Yorker, a graduate of Fordham University, served 16 years in the U.S. Air Force Reserve. M.A. has cared for children for over 20 years. She originally started writing short stories while doing childcare as a way to teach younger children about God. This passion led her to create numerous Christian-based short stories, which has inspired her to publish Christian-based books for small children. Among them, the highly praised When in Doubt. And the author of When in Doubt, M.A. Benjamin, joins us on This Week in America. M.A., welcome to the program. It's great to have you with us today.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here as well.
You do such a fascinating job with these books and inspiring children, giving them stories that they can relate to. A number of books you've written, we'll talk about that during the course of the conversation. When did you start getting the inspiration in writing your books? I did a little background with childcare, but when did this inspiration begin for you seriously, where I'm going to take these stories and I'm going to write these?
It seriously started back in 2004. As part of babysitting, daycare, however you wish to look at it, I tend to teach. Teaching is more my passion. And aside from teaching the children the regular curriculum, I also chose to teach a little bit about God. And in doing so, I found some of the stories are a little too long or too worthy for small children. My age range in children in teaching is from 2 to 12, but my books are geared more to 2 to 9 years of age.
Yes.
Because by then the children are moving into chapter books. So my books are more picture books, and I do my best to only have 1 to 2 sentences per page. So this way you're not on the page too long and then you lose the child's interest.
You know, that's interesting because sometimes I look at books like that and I'm thinking that might be harder to write just in condensing it so you've got a couple of good sentences than writing a whole bunch of paragraphs. Is it more difficult to get it in a compact presentation like that?
Sometimes it is, because you want to get it in a compact sentence, but you don't want to lose the meaning of the story at the same time.
Exactly, yes.
And then you can't use well, I'll swap out these 2 words and use a bigger word, because now the child can't follow it.
Well, you do an excellent job of taking the lesson down to where the child that is interested, keeping their attention. You mentioned something that's very important, the illustrations. Talk about that, having someone else, someone other than the writer come in and illustrate. Talk about the challenges, how you go about doing that, and having the illustrator capture what you're attempting to present and not overwhelm your message as well. It's got to be interesting working with an illustrator.
It is, and especially for me, because I dabble a little in art. Like I can do a nice little scenery, but I can't draw people. I have a mental block there. So when I do sit down and get to writing my books, the pictures actually start to form as I'm writing. And then, with the rewrites and everything, I kind of fine tune what I want the picture to look like. So at one point I was actually drawing. So I would draw my stick figures. This stick figure is a boy and it's doing whatever. And these are the parents and this. So that's how my illustrator would get it. But I've gotten to the point where I think I do a little bit better if I just write out the whole picture and let the illustrator grab it from there.
Yes.
And create it for me.
Fascinating what goes into putting a successful children's book together. Our guest on the program is M.A. Benjamin, and her website is mabenjamin.com. Book available at Amazon, all of the usual places. A number of books. The one we're talking about, When in Doubt, we'll get into the subject matter of that here in a few seconds with M.A. Moncia Benjamin. M.A. is how you'll find it if you're Googling or going to our website. Website's the best place to go because you can get information on all of the books. Talk about the process of writing children's books. Were there times when you go back and you mentioned a rewrite and going back over a book? Does that, I can judge by the reaction, you have to do that from time to time, and it's not necessarily all that pleasant.
Yes, I do. I do, because sometimes when I get the books, when God gives me the books, as you know, the books will they start formulating in my head. And I realize this is a book and I need to start writing it down. So I start, and it's my own version of shorthand. So as soon as I'm finished, I have to go back and start to write it out. And then again, I'll go back and write it out. And then right before I decide this is the book we're going to work on this time, I reread it, rewrite it, and then I send it to the illustrator.
Oh, interesting.
So,
it's always fascinating, the process. It goes from, the thought that you have
from idea to the actual product.
To actually getting it to the point where, yes, I think we can go ahead and print these. And it's fascinating. I ask about your inspiration and motivation. It sounds like you've got maybe a co-writer on this that gives you some of the ideas.
Yes, I do. I have a silent partner, Father God. And the reason why I say that, like, I do have like a book here or there. I think I'm going to write about that. But a lot of my books, literally, I could be sitting down doing nothing, and my brain just gets flooded, and I have to get a pen and a paper and just start writing everything down. And I might be about halfway before I actually realize what it is I'm writing. And when the inspiration stops, that's the end of the book.
You just sort of know when you get that tap on the shoulder that it's like, okay, I'm going to follow instructions and go write and go write the book now. M.A. Benjamin, our guest on the program, M.A. Moncia Benjamin, the book available at her website, mabenjamin.com, Amazon as well, all the usual places. The book, When in Doubt, we'll talk about that here in a second, but what are some of the elements that you feel that go into making telling a good children's story?
The elements in telling a good children's story. Number one, you need to write it so that you can hold the child's attention. For me, every book that I write, I want there to be a lesson to be learned. Even if it's something that they may not use it right now. And then there are times when, even now, I can be sitting down with a child and I'm trying to explain something. You know what? Let me go get this book. I'm going to tell you this story. And then when we're finished, we turn around and we go back to the situation and we try to apply it to that situation so that they can understand it better.
This book is finish that thought. I'm sorry.
But in all of my books, there is a reason for it, whether it be to teach them patience, to have a little faith in our parents. They may not always agree with what we want. And as kids, our parents are the worst because their favorite line is no. And it's not until you get older that you realize they were really looking out for you.
You have captured captured the mind of a child so well. That's exactly. And as we get older, it's like, we should have listened a little better because they're a lot smarter than I thought they were when I was 7 or 8 years old. Let's take the book.
That's exactly, because right now my niece lives with me. She's more like my daughter, but she's really my niece. And I talk to her sometimes, and I can see that far off look in her eyes, like, there she goes again. Yep. And I tell her, you know what? You have to remember, an adult is a grown-up child. We were children, so I can see what you're doing, and you know what? I remember doing that. So here, let me help you not to do that.
Yes, I did this. I did the same thing, so you know where they're coming from. I love the themes that you develop and talk about in your books. In When in Doubt, let's talk about that. The theme, the message that you're presenting in that book, When in Doubt.
In When in Doubt, my emphasis is on patience. To have patience. Children, they have a thing. When they want something, I want it now. You know what, Mom? Can I have something? Afterward, okay. An hour later, you said I can have it. Okay, tomorrow, can I have it? And they'll keep going until they get it. But when in doubt is, to teach them to have patience with what they want, because everything is not an instantaneous thing. We want to give our children what they want, But we also realize they can't get everything that they want, and they can't get it right now because, you know, we have to teach them.
Yes.
Because if not, they'll go out, and as in when in doubt, my character, he wants a bike. And as with us, you want something everywhere you go, you're going to see it. So everywhere he goes, there's a bike here, there's a bike there, there's a bike. But you know what? That's not yours. You have to wait. Your turn will come. And it also helps to teach you to have faith in your parents. You ask them, they'll come through for you.
And these are all messages. As I'm looking through the book, I'm thinking, well, first of all, as you're reading the book to the child is reading to you, you're reading it together. These are good messages for adults too. I mean, patience is something
Yes.
we all are sure of. So here's something as we're reading it to the child, we should be listening. But these are really valuable lessons for a child that you're teaching, aren't they?
Yes, I do. That is what I'm gearing for, because the Bible says, "Train up a child in the way it should go, and when it grow old, it won't depart." So even as the parent is, I always picture it as a well. The parent is pouring things into that well for the child. Everything that they're teaching them is something that when they grow up, they'll be able to go back and draw on. And the same thing with these books, and even for the reader that's going to be reading these books, they're going to take away a message too. Even if it's that one little seed to start to plant to help bring them closer to the kingdom. Everybody's going to walk away with something. You can't take a person and be like, you're going to follow God and that's it, because you're going to lose that person. Period.
Yes.
It's just like watering a flower. You take that little seed, you put it in the dirt, and you just keep on watering it, and eventually, things will come to pass.
There's something in the books for adults as well as children, designed for children,
Yes.
but as you're reading, discussing with the child, suddenly your eyes are opening a little bit too, or we take things for
Exactly.
granted over the years, and it's sort of slowing life down, and we're going back and examining that. How do these books impact you as you're coming up with a message, you're shaping the message? Is it a learning experience for you as well?
Yes, it is. Sometimes I have literally written a book, and by the time I finish writing it, I'm like, okay, Father God, I got the message. I got it. This one was really for me, but we can still write it for the kids, but I got the message. Yes, it is. It is for the books are really for everybody. And I realized that because I had a friend, and we all grew up in the same neighborhood. And it's not till I think he was about 26, 27, and we were sitting down and we were talking one day, and he told me, he never went to church. He's always heard about God, but he's never really had anybody talk to him where God is concerned, or the kingdom of heaven or anything. For him, church was it's Easter. They go, they come back.
Yes.
That was the end. So, and with the way that our world is going, we want the children to we want them to grow up to be better people, and we can't have better people if we just constantly do the same thing over and over.
That's exactly true.
You can't leave everything just for the teacher. You know what? Here, you can sit down, you can watch the movie, because when you get a little bit older, you can go to school and start to learn your ABCs. Everything starts at home. And I look at it as I care for people's children while they're at work. So I've actually taken their place. So I try to instill, and I always make sure that I have the parents' permission before I sit down and, well, this is what we do. Before you eat, you say grace. Little different things like that. So I always have the parents' permission. I don't sit down and force anything on anybody. And
well, what a great foundation you're laying for the children and for the parents as well, because you, as you said, you're the surrogate as they're off working and you're there with them. This is time not just entertaining, but giving them these little nuggets to grab a hold of and to shape their lives as well. Let's start with the books that you've written. This one, When in Doubt, is now available. You'll find it at Amazon, the usual places. The website is mabenjamin.com.
Benjamin.com.
Yeah, all the
Yes.
books there. Tell us about the books that you've written, and then I'm interested in the books you're working on, because I'm sure you've been tapped on the shoulder a few more times to write a few more books. What are the ones that are available?
The ones that are available right now for children's books, I have When I Pray, which is the Lord's Prayer. It's set to pictures for the
Oh,
children.
yes.
Psalm 23, the entire psalm is written out for children. These are literally all picture books, and they have the actual Bible verse, but under it is a little short sentence that explains what it says. Just while you're reading that, they have the picture right over it
Yes.
to help them to understand. Mommy, Daddy, Jesus, and Me. This one lets them know that just like when they're off to school, mom and dad are at work, and Jesus is not only watching over him, but he's also watching over mom and dad at the same time, and watching over him until they all get back together when they're back home. Don't wait is literally don't wait. And even as adults, we know something is about to happen, and we sit down and wait until the last minute to do something. Don't wait. Don't wait. You know what you have to do. Just do it, and it just makes life so much easier.
Yeah, doesn't it?
You know.
It's a simple message, and it's difficult for all of us to get a handle on that.
Yes.
You know,
And then these are just poem books from the heart, and A Lady Called Mom.
there's
And in
something
this
there.
one, yes.
Something there for everybody, isn't there?
Yes. Yes. These two are poetry books. And in A Lady Called Mom, that one was a little hard to write, because it was dedicated to my mother, who passed 3 years ago. So
What great memories to have, and a legacy in writing a book like that. And I'm sure that was very emotional as you were doing that.
it was.
As we're going through, I'm thinking, boy, this is sort of a new bookshelf for the kids at home, isn't it? You've got something there for all occasions, all the holidays, all of
Yes,
the
I
birthdays
do.
coming up, and just
I
to get something to surprise the young people. That's all of those are described in detail, and you can order on mabenjamin.com, the website there as well. What are you working on now?
Right now, I'm working on 5 books. Abba Father, which is a poetry that teaches us about God's love and patience and forgiveness for us. Changes is a picture book. Well, the rest of them are picture books. Changes is about a little girl, and in Changes, they're moving. So changes are not necessarily a bad thing. When something in our lives changes, whether it's moving, going to a new school, or hey, you know what? Something might have happened. We can't live with our parents anymore. They're all changes that we may not look at it as tragic or really. I can't. The word is saying I can't even think about
Well,
it.
I know what you're saying. Yes, it is
devastating to a small child.
Yes.
But as as these things go, we want them to take away the good memories that they had there, and know that those friends that you're leaving behind, if you ask mommy and daddy if you can call them, I'm pretty sure you can talk to them on the phone, you can Skype them, FaceTime them. Whatever the change is, there's always going to be a good side to it. Don't always look at the negative part.
Yeah, what a great way to sort of explain the transitions that we all go through, and especially for young children, when suddenly they're just getting accustomed to something, and then a drastic change. So you're busy with the books that you're working on. How are they coming? What will be the next one that you release?
The next one that I'm hoping to release is Do You Know Someone in Heaven, which is about death and loss.
Yes.
And in this one, my character, yes, he's lost, and it's not just him in the book. It's different people. You might have lost a mom, you might have lost a dad, a grandfather. It could be your best friend, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a grown up that died. As little kids, we look at grown ups as you're old. They died. They were old. Little kids die too. You could have lost a friend. All of that is
Yes.
It's heart-wrenching to a small child. So that tries to help them with the grieving process in that one. And again, we take the good. You try to remember the good. You have good memories of that person, even if it's somebody that you didn't get to see a lot. When you got to see them, I'm pretty sure when you went to grandma's house, she was always baking. You can have
Yes.
right. Grandpa took you out in the backyard to play.
You have such a
So
talent in taking these messages that are so important and probably oftentimes overlooked, but you're taking them and delivering them to the child, presenting them in a verbal as well as a visual way that will impact their lives in a very positive way. A couple minutes left on the program. M.A. Benjamin is our guest. The book, one of many, When in Doubt is what we're talking about. The book available at Amazon at MA's website, which is mabenjamin.com, and all this information on our website. How rewarding is this for you to take this love, this passion you have for writing and be able to get it out there and shape young lives? And how much fun was it the first time you picked up a book that had your name on as the author? You opened the package and there's your published book. What was that like for you?
Okay, well, for me, again, my passion is really in the teaching. And what I have found in becoming an author, I get to reach a broader audience.
Yes.
It's not just the little kids that are sitting here in front of me. I get to reach their parents, people they know, people that I don't even know, that might see the book and decide that they want to purchase it. And, from word of mouth, there it goes. And for my first book, that I was like a Cheshire cat the entire week. You couldn't slap the smile off of my face
Oh, I
if
can
you wanted
imagine.
to.
I can imagine.
And for my message to somebody, never, ever, ever, ever give up. And don't sit down and let somebody talk you out of it either. Because when I first started, I was getting, it's like I was being bombarded with books in my head and I just couldn't write. And I was like, okay, I'll have these things written. What am I supposed to do with them? Because I had no idea, how I would go about doing it. And I remember showing it to somebody and he looked me in the face and he was like, why are you wasting your time? You're never going to be able to do anything with this. And once I got up off of my little pity pot there,
Yes.
I decided I'm gonna prove you wrong. And I tried. I sent it out. And this is back in the day when you had to do everything by mail. I did all of my letters and I sent out my manuscripts, and one by one they were coming back and they kept, they liked the manuscript, but no, we can't accept this manuscript at this time. And then when I realized that was going to happen, I decided, well, you know what, I'm going to have to self-publish. And then having to sit down and find all the different steps that you literally have to do yourself was a little overwhelming. But once I started to get it done, it is truly very rewarding. So anybody that's out there that decides that they want to write, and I feel everybody has a book within them, at least one.
Yes.
Even if it's just about their life, something that they've learned. Everybody has one. And trust me, don't give up. Don't let anybody talk you out of it. Anybody that tries to, do your best to prove them wrong. And guess what? There's more than enough shelf space, be it in store or online, for you, me, the authors that are there, and the ones that are going to come up behind us. So don't let anybody discourage you.
Well, that's a great message to people out there. They're so afraid of disappointment. They're afraid of rejection. And you say you just basically get up, dust yourself off. Yeah. And you go further. And then when you got that first book, did you autograph a copy and send to that guy that told you you were wasting your time? Did you give him an autographed copy of your book?
Nope,
Oh,
because I said if he decides he wants it, he gonna pay for it.
that's true. Why give it to him? If he wants it, he can pay it like everybody else. Good thinking there. I like. There's a businesswoman there too. To be able to do this and self-publish, you'll learn that quickly because if you give it to him, it's
Oh,
coming
yes,
out of
you
your
do.
pocket. So yes, I fully
Yes, everything,
understand
everything.
that. Well, it's been so much fun having M.A. Benjamin on our guest today, as our guest today on the program. This book, when in doubt, but we focused on all of them, and there's so many and so many more coming out. So it would be good to sort of bookmark that website, mabenjamin.com. You can go there and get books for all of the young people in your lives, and put great messages there, and this is expanding the role of a teacher. You've got people that you're shaping that don't even know where you are, don't even know who you are. They're just taking your message and learning from it. It's been a pleasure having you on the program. Congratulations on all the success that you've had. Hopefully we'll be able to do this again. Thank you for spending some time with us.
Thank you as well. And I look forward to next time. Next time I'll have a whole bunch more.
Oh, looking forward to it. M.A. Benjamin, our guest on the program. You'll find information on all of her books at our website, mabenjamin.com. Information, of course, on our website, thisweekinamerica.us. We're back on today's program after these messages.
This Week in America is online. You can visit our website, thisweekinamerica.us. Scott Pinkerton, associate producer of This Week in America. Jay Anderson, segment producer. Ben Watson, webmaster. Otto Bechet, director of engineering and TV production. This Week in America produced and is a trademark of Blue Funk Broadcasting, LLC. For information on all of our guests and to listen to this week's show, our website again at thisweekinamerica.us. And I'm Sean Bratton, executive producer of This Week in America.